welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about how to trade options within Active Trader here in Thinkorswim. Now there are 3 different ways you can set up your position for these trades, and I'll cover all 3 options in this video. So the first thing I'll show you is how you can configure your charts with a few different layouts. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. You can see here I'm under the charts tab and I have Apple pulled up. So the very first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and click on this to have 2 charts side by side. And I'm going to go ahead and put in Apple as the ticker symbol for this. Now the main thing as a priority to make sure you have everything aligned is to make sure that your charts are actually linked to each other. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on this little drop down where the link is, and I'm going to select the blue number 3. I'm also going to do the same thing for this chart here on the right side, select this blue number 3. Now the next thing you want to go ahead and do is click on the trade tab, because now we're going to find the actual contract that we're looking to trade within Active Trader. So you can see here we have the weeklies pulled up. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the weeklies here for April 25th. Currently, Apple is trading at $224, at least at the time of filming this video. I'm going to go ahead and stick to a contract on the call side just for the example. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at a strike price within the money. So again, if you're trading in the money, your strike price should be below for calls and above for puts. And we're going to take a look at the 220 strike price here. So we're going to take a look at this ask. Now, in order to make sure we're sending this specific contract over to Active Trader, we're going to go ahead and right click on it. And once you do, there's 2 different options you have. The first one is to simply just copy it. So you see this line here that says copy. It's telling you you're looking at Apple on the weekly, and then it's showing us the expiration for it, and then it shows us the call is the 220 call. You can click on copy. So the other option you have is to go down to the send tab here, and you can choose the link that you have for the number correlated. So in this case, it will be the blue 3. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now again, it is important to make sure that you have them linked together so that they are synchronous. So now when I go back to the charts tab, you'll see here it pulled up exactly what I selected because it's linked to this blue 3 right here. Now from here you can choose to have the indicators pulled up by clicking on the studies icon if you want to. You can select any indicator you want. You can see I already have the ADX pulled up down here. You can do the same thing on this side as well. Okay, so the next thing to do is to go ahead and take a look at this side panel here on the right side. You're going to see all these different buttons you can select. The one that you want to make sure you have pulled up here is Active Trader, so you're going to select that. And you can choose to either deselect the chart so it'll go away and you'll just have the chart here on the left side and then Active Trader here on the right. Or if you want to have them both pulled up, you can go ahead and select it again and the chart will be pulled up here in the middle. For simplicity purposes, I'll deselect it just to have the display pretty clear and simple. Okay, so now we see here at the top, we see the buy market and sell market. I'm going to hit this little drop down arrow next to it. And now you'll see the quantity of contracts that you can select is pulled up along with the template that can be set as well. And then next to that, you also see the auto send. Now I currently have mine unchecked. I do recommend that if you are a new trader, you may want to decide to not have auto send turned on, because if you do select this to be on, you will not be able to review your trade. It'll simply just go ahead and place you into the trade and your positioning will be fulfilled if it actually is picked up in the market. Now, the opportunity you have in not having it checked is the ability to be able to look at your numbers before the trade is sent off. So I leave mine deselected. Now from here, you can also customize this top panel here by clicking on this gear icon, and you'll see the customized set pulls up. So what you can do is you can look for anything that you would want as far as what you would do normally to place your option trade. Let's say, for example, you want the buy ask to be pulled up. You can have that as an added item. And then let's say you want to scroll down to sell the bid. You can have that as an added item as well. And then from here, you can go ahead and move them up to the top panel by just sliding them where you want them to go. So I'll have the buy there, the sell underneath it here. And then from here, you can just click on OK. Now, once all of this is set and it visually looks the way you like, you can go ahead and decide that you want to place your trade. And let's say, for example, you're looking to have maybe just 1 contract, maybe 10 is not what you desire. So you can go ahead and take that out and just put 1. You can also change your template from single, and you can have it set for the OCO or like the trigger with brackets. Essentially, they do the same thing. And I've made a previous video kind of discussing the walkthrough of this, so I'll leave a link to it down below. But if you go ahead and select the trigger with bracket, essentially what happens is you're able to have a take profit target here at this top line, and your stop loss can be here at this bottom line. Now the numbers and percentages that you choose are completely your preference. So let's say, for example, you want to have a template set to make $100 on a trade. You can go ahead and have this top line set for $100. And let's say you only want to risk maybe losing, let's say, $25 on a trade if you're brand new to it and you only want to risk that. You can have it set for a minus 25 as your stop. Or let's say you have a little bit more experience and you've been trading for a while. You can have maybe, let's say, $1,000 in here at the top for your take profit. And let's say you want to have 250 for your stop here at the bottom. Y'all know I always recommend making sure your risk management is intact. That way you don't have to worry about risking too much of your capital. So make sure you always have at least a stop, if nothing else. Now, me personally, I prefer a trail stop, so I typically change mine to a trail stop. And y'all have heard me talk about this several times before. The reason I like a trail stop so much is that it chases your profits directionally. So no matter if it's to the upside or to the downside, it's always going to make sure it follows your profits. And you're able to lock in essentially what you have. If nothing else, you can break even. So it's a pretty good opportunity to have a peace of mind to make sure you're not really losing a whole ton of money. But if you choose to have just a regular standard stop, you can go ahead and select that. All right, now from here, you would just go ahead and select what you would want. Again, for your contract, it's already set in here at the top. Now you do see it set for a call at the 220 strike. But let's say you change your mind and you're like, you know what? I actually don't want this to be at the 220 strike. Let's say you want it at a 224, maybe a 222, or even a 218. You can actually go in here and change this to something else if you want to. So if, let's say you want like a 222 strike, you can put that in, or a 224, whatever it may be, you can put that in. And then you can also change the call to a put as well. So let's say you don't want it to be a call and you change your mind. You can put in a capital P here and it'll put it in at the put and you'll have it set for that. And then you'll also see a pop-up that shows you you're changing it essentially from a call now to a put. Now let's say you're like, no, I didn't actually want to do that. You can just go back and put the C in and then put the 220 back the way it was. So essentially that is all you would have to do for your first means of setting an option contract within Active Trader. Go ahead and select the buy market or the buy ask, totally your choice on what you prefer. And you can go ahead and send this order off and be done. And that is everything you would need to know as far as how you would place this specific trade here under the charts tab. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the flexible grid as a second option. Now here under this tab, you see that there are 3 charts defaulted. So there's a chart here at the top and there's a couple at the bottom. But this screen allows you to have multiple charts pulled up and you can configure them any way you see fit because it is flexible. So in order to do that, you're going to click on this show grid icon right here and you're going to go ahead and select the customize grid. And now you'll see this box pull up here in the middle. Now what this box allows you to do is to add a chart beneath. You can add a chart to the right or you can delete a chart. So for example, this big chart right here at the top, I can go ahead and add one underneath it by clicking on this button here and you'll see a chart pops up below it. If I don't want that to be there, I just click on this button to the right side and delete it and it'll go away. Same thing applies here at the bottom. Let's say I want to add a chart to the right next to this chart, just click this middle one and you'll see a chart pull up here in the middle. If I don't want this box to be here, I can just go ahead and delete it right there. Now to avoid too much chaos and the screen being too busy, I typically have 2 charts at the bottom here and then 1 chart here at the top. So that's the way I'm going to keep it just for example purposes for this video. Now once you've gone ahead and customized it the way you want and it looks the way that you visually want it to be presented, you're just going to go right back up here to the show grid icon and you're going to deselect customize grid. And now what you're able to do is go ahead and put in the ticker symbols that you would want for the specific option contract. In this case, I'm going to put in Apple for all 3. That way I can have Apple pulled up on each one of these charts here at the bottom and the top. Now what makes this super easy and really fast as far as your execution is that you can actually link these as well. So remember I showed you this little link right here. If I go ahead and select this drop down and I go down to the blue 3, you'll see it pulls up the exact contract that we just kind of discussed. I'm going to leave this one unlinked just for example purposes, but you can also link this one as well. Go down to that blue 3 and there it is. Now what you don't see on this specific tab is the active trader. Now in order to get that pulled up, all you would have to do is go over here and click on AT. This stands for active trader and you can click on it and it'll pull up here at the bottom. Now from here you can go ahead and slide this over and give yourself more room to visually see what's going on. You can slide it over if you want to, and then you can also deselect the chart again. If you don't want the chart here, you can just deselect it all together and now you have active trader here at the bottom. This is typically how I go about setting up my layout, but again, it's personal preference on what you choose to have it look like for you. Now one of the things I also like to do is to kind of have this more condensed. I like to have my top chart to be a little bit wider and I have the active trader here at the bottom a little smaller along with this chart next to it, just so that I can see full scope of it. And again, I can deselect anything that I don't want. So let's say for example I don't want it there, you can go ahead and select it. Same thing with the active trader tab. I usually don't have it selected here at the top. I usually have it fit here at the bottom. Now for the most part, same rules apply. You can go ahead and hit this drop down, look at your quantity and your template, go ahead and add anything that you would want as far as like buying the ask price. Once again, you can add it in there. Same thing with adding the sell bid. You can add that item as well, and then just of course drag and drop it to where you want it to be and then have that set right underneath it. You can click on OK and then you'll see it pulls up right here at the top on this panel here. Now from here it's straightforward. Once again, go ahead and select the quantity that you would want for the number of contracts, select your template that you want to choose, and then of course you can send it off based upon you buying the ask or if you want to buy market. The main difference between the two is that if you buy market, for example, your order is automatically going to be fulfilled, so you don't have to wonder whether or not the contract will be picked up. Now, if you choose buy the ask, on the other hand, this is basically the asking price that the market has set for it. Now, with slippage being a very real thing, it's important that you are selecting the way you want your contract to be executed, the way you feel would be best for your strategy. So whether that's buying the market or buying the ask, you can choose what works for you. Okay, so this was the second way to go about doing it here under flexible grid. Now we're going to get into the last way to go about doing this, which is simply going to be under the trade tab, and we're actually going to click on active trader. Now this is probably the most common way that people go about placing their trades. They just go straight to the source and go to active trader, but I wanted to show y'all a couple other options before we hopped into this one. But again, the same functionality is going to apply. I'm going to type in Apple, pull that up here. Same thing on this side, we can type in Apple and pull it up here. Okay, so you can see it's now pulled up with 4 charts. I have 2 right here at the top and bottom. I have active trader here at the top right, and then I have this chart here at the bottom as well. Now, just keeping everything aligned, you already essentially know that in order to go about placing the trade, you can just simply link it to that blue 3 once again, and it'll pull up the contract automatically. And it'll also pull up your defaulted template as well. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do from here is I'm going to unlink it, and we're going to jump into the back testing part of this video so y'all can see this play out with real numbers and in real time. That way y'all get full context of how this could essentially work in your favor and be a good strategy for fast executions, which is pretty much why everybody loves active trader. It allows you to just hop into a trade and of course exit very quickly, very swiftly. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on demand here, and we're going to go ahead and pull up February 14th. We'll leave it here, and we can select it to be at 8:30 at essentially the start of the market. I'm going to type in Apple for this. We're going to go to the trade tab. I'm going to look at all products, and we're going to take a look at the specific weekly for March 7th, which would have been 21 days of DTE at the time of placing the trade. And at the time, Apple was trading for $242. So again, we're going to stay within the money just for example purposes. So we'll take a look at this 240 strike right here. I'm going to actually go ahead and right click on it. And then again, I'm going to copy it. Again, you could decide if you want to send it to, you can send it to whatever color and number that you have associated with it. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and copy it so y'all can see that example. And I'll go back up here to active trader. I'm going to go ahead and put that contract right in, enter, go right here and hit enter as well, and you'll see again, of course, we have the drop down for what we're looking at. I'll go ahead and place this trade. Let me go ahead and put it back to about, let's do 8:30, just again to start it fresh from the market start in the open. And you're going to see here the contract pulls up. Now I'm going to just simply go ahead and select on buy market with the 10 contracts. I'm going to leave the template set for what it is as well. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the numbers here, make sure everything looks the way you want it to. And then you're going to go ahead and click on confirm and send. Wait a moment and it'll pull it up. And you'll see that the order gets picked up in just a second for what we have as far as our parameters, and we will be good to go on this specific contract. And we can also see how it plays out. I'll show you all that in just a second as well. Okay, so now that the order has been picked up, we can see it here on the charts, and you can see that they have the limit for it. Now, the really cool thing about it is that you can choose to have as much information actively shown as possible. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and put Apple just right into this specific box here. And you can see it playing out in real time. So you can see I have it pulled up here on the 5-minute chart. I can look at it here on the 1-minute chart. And then this, of course, is just showing you the active trade that I have. Now, the good thing about this is one of the super beneficial things about trading an active trader is that you can adjust your position literally in real time. So you can see here on the chart, it's moving. Now, for example, let's say I'm looking at the P&L. In this case, it's going to be positive because I've already back tested this trade before. But let's say it was actually going against me. And let's say I'm like, you know what? I want to have myself exited out of this trade before it goes too far against me. You can take this and drag it either down or you can drag it up depending on what you want. And once you let it go, the order confirmation box will pop up again and you can decide to adjust your positioning. Now, if you think everything looks great, go ahead and click on send. But if not, you can go ahead and click on edit and it'll pull up the order entry tools. Then you can select what you want as far as the pricing, the limit, all that good stuff can be adjusted here. From here, go ahead and click on confirm and send once you adjust your numbers and you'll be good to go. Now here at the bottom, again, you can watch your P&L and see how the numbers are changing and how they're moving. Just for example purposes, we're just going to jump ahead a little bit in time. That way we can kind of just see how it would play out. Let's do a few minutes forward at about 8:40. Just going to adjust it there. We'll take a look once it loads, and that is pretty much all you would need to do in order to make sure you're placing these trades efficiently. And Active Trader, again, is a really, really good tool to use if you're trying to make sure that you're just staying on top of your game as far as entering and exiting these trades with precision. So I do definitely recommend utilizing it. That way you can pretty much just get familiar with how the market is moving and see the numbers in real time on the chart, which is something you have the advantage of doing in Thinkorswim. So it's a really good, beneficial, and useful tool to have. So yeah, y'all, that'll pretty much do it for this video. I hope this information, you found it to be helpful. If so, feel free to leave me a comment down below. As always, I thank y'all so much for watching, and of course, I'll see y'all in my next one.